Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Sensual Goat, Jin, Neil, Click OK, Arthur, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
Let's get it on.
Hi there, from Jin CBR1.
Otherwise known as Flat Earth Rambo.
Rambo in the house.
There's already been a bit of controversy before we've even started. So I was in the past making an example of where normies would accept flat earth as just having always been the case, with a bus stop example where there's a couple of people just having a casual conversation and then a couple of other people arguing about whether or not earth's a ball, and eventually the conversation spills into the extra two people at the bus stop that have nothing to do with the discussion being asked what their opinion is, only to be responded with, well, it's not that serious, earth's just measured flat. Or, in other words, a nonchalant response that indicates that it's not the primary thing that they're concerned about, in spite of it being oh so important to the two people discussing it at the bus stop. Now, I got a commenter that bought a mic from me and just happened to ask what my channel name was, and I supplied him with a YouTube link to the video that was in the ad on eBay, but direct rather than in the embedded comments of the eBay description, where I'm describing this mic is the AKG D65S. It's a handheld dynamic switch cardioid from the 1980s, that kind of thing. Well, that guy had the original link from YouTube itself supplied to him as a customer so he could see the channel. Now, he's come back subsequently, having asked a couple of preliminary questions about flat earthing, so enough for me to know that he recognised what the channel's about. But his primary concern was what my desert island mic would be. What one would you keep if you could only have one, was his comment, the essence of the comment, rather than it being the primary concern about whether or not Earth's spherical. Now, I'm sure that the guy probably has questions, maybe of some vague interest to him. The point being, his focus was convincing his wife or better half that he's not nuts for having less than, he was important to add, a 30 mic collection. That's not abnormal, right? He's just, like the guy on YouTube with all these mics that he's selling. He's got loads of mics too, so it's normal, okay? That's why he's come to convince himself. No offence to you, my friendly eBay customer. My point being that the flat earth aspect of the channel is secondary. He's the guy on the periphery at the bus stop who's worried about whether or not his wife likes his mic collection, rather than the discussion that's irritating him about whether or not Earth's spherical. Who cares? We already knew it was measured flat. You two buffoons arguing about it at bus stop's not going to drag me away from my concern whether or not I'm nuts for having 30 microphones, or less than 30. You know what I mean? So that example is been made as a real thing. Like, I didn't know it'd come about because of microphones, but it has. And what was the response from my fellow compadres that literally say, flat earthing's the most important thing in the whole wide world? They said, it's just one man. That's their response. So I thought that was worth sharing with the live audience as soon as we started.
Yeah, that one man, actually what he was saying was just pointing to his wife and saying, look, the guy that, I'm not crazy, because there's another guy that loves microphones. Look at this guy, so he can't be crazy too. Oh, wait a minute, he believes Earth is flat.
No, he had my response in that regard. It was in the eBay messaging system about delivery. And he's like asking a few opening questions about globe Earth and what it couldn't work with. And my response was, look, it's not that serious. Earth's just measured flat. And his response was, yeah, all right. So which microphone would you keep? It's just, to me, I've been dreaming of this day. Yeah? Not where it's... When I first got here, Validation Boy talked about not telling people, but not for the reasons that I don't necessarily discuss it when I'm out and about with normies, when I'm in my supermarket or at my home ed classes with my kids. I don't bring up what I do or that they're wrong about their religion of heliocentrism. Well, Validation Boy's notions were, if we don't tell people about it, it will remain special. You know something that the general populace doesn't. But if you go around telling them how nuts they are, they just want to ridicule you and tell you how their religion of being on a bull's correct. But if you keep it to yourself, well then, although it's a bit of a secret king scenario, it's still him suggesting that you don't tell people so that you can keep it sacrosanct, if that's the right word, special. And to him, I would imagine, based on that sentiment, he wanted to be special for knowing Earth's flat. Now me, I'm saying it's not that serious. It's just measured that way. Now it's a very polar opposite, completely the antithesis of what his sentiment was. But for the reasons that I've always wanted to keep it to myself to avoid ridicule when out in public, now I can say for the first time, and again with this exact customer, it's the first time some normie has talked to me about what I do, and rather than saying, oh, I run a show about cosmology, I've gone, it's not that serious, Earth's just measured flat. It's the first time I've put that rhetoric, if you will, into the general normie public, rather than in a very controlled way what we do in our little pond, as much as I hate the fact that it is our little pond with the anti-flat earthers. It is our little pond, and that's where it's been ushered and dug out specifically for us. But when it starts spilling into normie society and I say it's not that serious, Earth's just measured flat, the guy who I'm saying it to just goes, yeah, fair enough. What's your favourite microphone? Which one would you keep if you could only have one? It means that it tells me in no uncertain terms that this subject is secondary to a normal person. That's all this dude was. Just some guy who's interested in mics. He's bought one from me on eBay. He's not interested in flat Earth. Until he came across my channel, I'm in no doubt that he may have heard of the subject, but it certainly wasn't something paramount in his mind, like a normie would expect it to be me. Or, you know, how we'd expect a normal person to be, if I could say the sentence. So it does, to me, even though my panel members have completely poo-pooed it, it's just one man, I think it does represent a subtle but, you know, recognisable change in the opinions and attitudes based on the rhetoric we're putting out. My rhetoric specifically being, it's not that serious. It's just measured flat. Because it is. Earth, that is.
Validation Boy, is he the same one that said every globe proof will start out with assuming that Earth is a globe first?
Yeah, and then QE told me that he'd got that rhetoric from him.
Oh, that's his too. Okay, just checking.
Now, Nathan, when you say to that guy with the mic, oh, it's nothing serious, Earth is just measured flat, well, you really dampened any kind of chance to educate the man on that. You've just dampened it. That he's not going to, he's going to continue believing he's on a globe. That's what's happening there when you do that. Okay? And if it was me in his shoes, I would have said, yeah. Did you not realize that we're not on a spinning ball hurtling through the universe? Because that's just crazy. At least give him some inkling where he needs to check it. You're not ramming it down his throat, but you're stressing to him in some nice way, because you're still doing your business, but it's something that you should consider and check, because we don't want children to be learning this, you know. Okay? You know, there is a way of, you've missed an opportunity there, but you don't want to engage the guy. That's understandable.
Absolutely not. Right. Not my business. Right. If he was to tell me all about the Quran, I might nod along. I might explain that I'm a Christian, but that would be it. I'd then tell him about the next best microphone I want him to buy, because that's what he's here for. He's on my eBay store looking to buy a microphone. That's what he's there for. Now, the fact that he can go and have a look at my channel and go, oh, right, you're a flat earther, really? Now, don't get me wrong, he expressed that sentiment of, really? through a message. It's not like I could hear the upward inflection. But it was dealt with by me going, it's not that serious, it's just measured flat. And that was enough for him to be, oh, right, okay. Because to average normal person, they don't necessarily care beyond what they're told because it's genuinely inconsequential to them. How many times, raise your hands in Discord or G+, you've told somebody, like Jin suggests we tell them, that Earth's flat. And they go, what difference does it make to me? How many times have you experienced that?
Can't count how many times. But the other thing is, let me just answer real quick. I don't think Nathan missed a chance. I think Nathan put it forth the way he wanted to put it forth. It's not that serious. So that's going to be weighing on that guy's mind too.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not that serious, you see. So maybe he may not look into it. The thing is, it's not that serious that we get educated in the wrong way and some people carry a belief for 48 years. That's not that serious. It's okay. Carry on believing. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the attitude.
No, I
That's
don't
correct.
see it that way.
Well, yeah, hold
I
on.
don't
Let
see
me
it
answer.
That's
that
how
way.
I see it.
Let me
That's
answer
how
it.
I see it.
No, I do see it as that way, Jin, because it isn't that serious when normal guy can go to his trig point and describe how Earth gets measured flat. He's not in any way concerned, that guy that we covered from the mapping channel, about how flat he will describe Earth to be when he measures it. It's not concerning him. So why should it concern you?
So clearly the deception continues. We're never going to get an end to this deception, ladies and gentlemen.
That's correct.
If we adopt this kind of attitude, because the deception has to stop. And industries sprouted out. Now they're lying, they're going to Mars and going to bloody the moon and that. And they're not doing any of that stuff. That's all coming from the deception where people are indoctrinated. And the idea that, it's not that serious, Earth is measured flat and you move on. The individuals are not even going to think about it, I don't think. But we'll wait and see. I don't think it's going to be a thing yet, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, you want them to understand and appreciate Earth is measured flat and then get on with their day. Now, in a circumstance where potentially it might cost them money, it will have a direct impact upon their income. They're being told that they're going to have to suffer cuts because of a trip to Mars, and they know Earth's measured flat, then they might express their concerns because then it'll affect them. But like the example I gave earlier, the guy wants to know which is the best microphone to use during a podcast because he's doing a podcast with a couple of women in a couple of weeks, right? So that's what's on his mind. I'm not going to tell him, well, yeah, but you are a heliocentrist, right? Everyone's trained to be a heliocentrist. It's what we were all taught at school. So you do appreciate this is a big deal, right? What I do on my channel is a big deal. Very important stuff going on. You think I should have expressed that sentiment? Well, I disagree fundamentally.
If it was me now and I had this channel like you've got here now, I'd say, yeah, I'd give him links to my channel. I'd say, yeah, I find it quite important. That's what I'd say to him. It's an important thing whilst you're enjoying your mic and that, which is you're doing your business, and you can still get it across to him that it's something that he should consider when he has the time. For you are not living on a ball hurtling to the universe. That is not us. And it's still getting on with your business, and you've left him with something to think about.
Right.
That's
so
you've dropped a seed. Nothing wrong with that. Sorry.
So by comparison, if it was somebody that was heavily into political malpractice, misspending, which is all they do, you would urge the guy at the party to recognise what a scumbag scoundrel Trump is. Because it's very important to their being and their life, and consequences in terms of the tax will affect you. You are tightening your strings because of this man. Those people are found to be very boring. Just the way it is. If you're that guy at the party, people look down their nose at you and think you're boring.
Well, Jin said he had a whole audience at his party.
Yeah.
And they were all quite interested.
It's how you approach it. That's all it is. How you deliver it. And the psychology you use. Simple.
Well, I want the reaction to be a reaction of being nonchalant to the subject. Like, immune to it. As opposed to the way flirting has gone for the last 10 years. It triggers a very visceral one side or another response. Either utter indifference and disdain to the person that's passing on the information, or utter disdain to the person that's delivering the information that's verbalized on the spot. In other words, you're either a normie that's resentful for the fact that you've even brought the subject up. That's the what difference does it make to me? There's a tone of disdain in that sentiment. Or the how dare you challenge what I've been taught in school? We know it's a globe because science told us. How dare you challenge the omnipotent science that I was taught in my school? I could be getting on with my other things right now, but for you telling me this, I'm going to have an argument with you about it, Jin. It's outrageous.
Yeah, and there are times when it's gone that way, and I've been successful. It's gone that way for 6 weeks. It's gone that way with that one person, or in other cases with a group of people. 6 weeks, and no end of tomatoes and carrots being chucked, if you can imagine that, metaphorically speaking, with their insults. Okay, and I've come out the other end, and they've all followed suit, thinking this guy's right. They've looked at the material; it's so stunk in. Because I said to them, if you carry this belief to your grave, what was your life all about? Thank you.
Shout out to Jonah Level Logic, who's joined as a hyena. Thank you very much for joining as a member.
This is an interesting discussion, though, whether how heavy this topic really is. And that depends on the individual, really.
Yeah. But I want to soften the blow as a general, automatic response. If the subject broached, I want it to be subtle and soft. Now, saying it's not that serious. Let's just clear that up, Jin. Do I think it's serious? Oh, yeah, it's serious. Very serious. I've been running a show about it for 10 years. Obviously, I take it seriously. Obviously, it is serious. But that isn't necessarily what you want to put into the mind's eye of next man when you broach the subject. I don't think that's a successful methodology. Having experienced 10 years of ridicule and tomato and carrot throwing, as you call it. Well, we're doing something wrong if we're getting carrots immediately thrown at us. I'd rather try a different tact where the next man shrugs his shoulders and has the ability, admittedly, a little white lie, to say, yeah, I always knew that.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, when I'm getting tomatoes and carrots and apples thrown at me, metaphorically speaking, I've approached it like I'm walking on eggshells. So I haven't gone in there like a lunatic, swinging my sledgehammer. No, can I have the moment of your time? For example, one approach. What is the shape of the earth, and how do you know that? That's one approach. And then when they say it's like a sphere, blah, 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 or they say it's round, do you mean round like a coin? What do you mean? Oh, spherical, yeah. But how do you know that, you see?
You use the Socratic method.
Right, and you just go easy and easy. But then sometimes they get triggered. They get triggered when you go softly. And when they get triggered, I say, well, hang on, what? You say, why the hostility? That's what I say to them. Why? Because, if it's a globe, you can prove it, can't you? It's simple. And then the insults coming. I throw some insults back. I can do the same, mate. It's not getting us anywhere. You're not proving your globe this way. And in the end, they calm down. And then they begin to see that, yeah. Then I start to show them some material. And now they're beginning to understand that they've been indoctrinated. Yeah, I love this. I love this situation where you engage the public. And I'm always softly. But you want to rough and tumble, I'll rough and tumble you back into your chair.
Okay, chill out, Rambo.
Thank you. There you are.
How's that horizontal constant doing, Jim? Have you beat anybody up with that yet over the weekend?
Oh, I've used it all over the weekend. My new toy. I've used it everywhere. It's gone down well.
Nice one.
What did the optician say one day?
Nice to see you.
That's a good one. Boom, boom.
Okay, I don't know what any of that meant, but wonderful. I mean, I think it's an interesting subject because at some point, normie society has to accept the reality they are faced with, and the reality we are faced with, that's flat Earth, is how Earth gets measured and always was. So to me, that's a very simple bridge to build. Very simple. Now, you might say, no, that there needs to be a fortified dam built, and we need to flood this whole area for people to notice. And that's going to take a lot of work, and we're going to have to battle with the local authorities for a significant period of time before we can achieve such things. But I'm like, I don't know, man. This is only a little crook. This is a little brook. You don't need anything more than a little wooden bridge over it. And then most people can walk over and go, yeah, when that's serious. Yeah. I can see how it's always measured flat. They might not lie. Now I see it was measured flat all the time, where I previously assumed incorrectly we were measuring it ball-shaped. We weren't. We never will. We can't, because it isn't ball-shaped. And now I understand that. I can just get on with what I'm doing on the other side of this here little river that I've just crossed over. And it wasn't really that big a deal. Life goes on, as it always was going on, measuring Earth flat as we do so.
I think they all do that anyway. I think they all do that anyway, don't they? They all do explain how it's measured flat, but then continue in the subconscious to believe that they live on a ball. But they'll admit it's measured flat and demonstrate how it's measured flat, but stay in the ball world.
Which they're entitled to. Everyone's entitled to their beliefs. In my humble opinion, as heliocentrism stops being the one world religion, that is to say, it's not the overarching, prevailing religion that we currently see it as, us from the outside looking in, that is, it will be locked up in the annals of history, assisted by Scientologists in their hermetically sealed vaults beneath mountains, with all of these documented heliocentric traditions tucked away neatly, ready to be reproduced at a later date, recycled by new narcissists who want to control people. But as it fades into obscurity, like anything that's juicy and has been used to great effect to control people, it will be tucked away somewhere. Well, you go, well, how can you tuck away what people typically just believe to be true if it ever fails? Well, that's where the only connection I can draw, Scientology, comes in. Scientology gives the ability to tuck heliocentrism as a nice package away. There's nothing unique in Scientology. It is just heliocentrism. When people say it's an offshoot of heliocentrism, I go, well, show me where it differs. Other than the groups that form after the fact, Scientology itself, what they talk about, represent what it is just heliocentrism. You'd show me a difference. If you want to say Xenu, you're like, no, that's absolutely in heliocentrism. If you don't know that in 2025, then what? Aren't you watching the news?
Well, they did that with flat Earth. You say, how are they going to tuck it away? They took flat Earth away.
You can't tuck something away when you're measuring it that way. They didn't tuck it away. That's why they have to ridicule people who say it's flat. Not people who measure it flat. They need to be just kept separate and have them say, well, that doesn't mean it's not a ball. But anybody who just comes along and says Earth's flat as just a blanket statement of fact, they need to be ridiculed as stupid. Why? Well, because we still need to maintain the flat measurements from people who believe and understand and declare that they're on a sphere. Anyone who makes the flat measurements and then declares that it's flat, they need ridiculing. Well, that wouldn't be necessary if you could actually tuck it away. But you can't tuck away an entire geometry of how Earth's surface is dealt with, can you? It's on screen in every one of these pictures that's going through on the audience's, view. You can see how Earth's dealt with in terms of how it's measured. Flat, in all respects, without exception.
Not talking about that, Nathan. We all know that. How many people right now, put a number on it, percentage-wise, think they're living on a globe?
Most people that we are aware of that are on the surface of the Earth think that they're on a ball. Most. I don't know, percentage.
So they successfully tucked flat Earth away because never did anybody ever think they were living on a globe way back when.
I don't agree. You can't tuck something away when it's how you're measuring the surface. This on screen now has the flat surface tucked within a ball that people believe they're in. but they don't. They think they're on it. Well, that disjunctive way of seeing a world that's measured flat from within a ball that you're on is just a cognitively complex process that people have to be educated in from birth so that they can have that cognitive dissonance. But it doesn't alter how it's measured. So you can't tuck it away, as you call it. You can't.
Maybe that's the wrong word, tucked away. Maybe I'm using the wrong word.
That's because
but they managed to hide it.
Distraction.
They managed to hide that Earth is flat, did they not? If they didn't, then why does everybody think we're on a ball, Nathan?
Because they were told they were on a ball.
Nicely tucking away flat Earth.
They were distracted, Neil. That's the deception, the distraction. But I'm hoping in the future that the heliocentric model is dying anyway. When it does finally die, it will be living in those prisons known as museums, because that's where the kids are going to go and learn how stupid man was years ago, believing in this silly thing. All right, that's what I wanted. That's what I want to see happening in the future if I'm still alive.
The other thing is, they told you lived on a ball, and when you use their two prime examples, Eratosthenes and Alberuni, nobody noticed that in them descriptions how Earth was measured as a globe. It wasn't actually explaining that. It was pointing out and describing how they measured elevation angles, using dip angles, line of sight. It was all flat Earth measurements when they was telling you this is the proof of our globe. And everybody missed it.
I agree. And there is a generation that should be held responsible. There was one generation when it turned. Okay, and that generation needs to be held responsible, because I'm sure there were intellectual people there that knew damn well that it was being measured flat. That's how they got their mapping systems. That's how they were able to chart and go all over the world.
Talking about my generation.
But, no.
My generation, who are you talking about?
Well, there's going to be one that they should be held responsible, because they're the ones that let it get away. Now, I do hear that there were some Christians fighting against it, Calvin and Luther. But in that generation, that's where that turn came, and they allowed it to happen. So safely tucking away or hiding what Earth really is and putting us on a magical spinning water ball with a world just like it in outer space, deep in the cosmos.
But that's going to trigger people. I'm not trying to cause a big sensation.
Just talking about my generation.
People just try to put us down. That's what the problem is.
I like it.
Who are we on about?
Good. My generation.
Who?
Talking about
the
my
people
generation.
that try to put us down.
That we're dangerously close to actually getting a copyright strike, so let's stop it now. I just hope I die before
Somebody's
I get old.
responsible, though.
Who are you to say that?
The person that was deceived and indoctrinated, now that he's woken up, that's who he is. A disgruntled taxpayer that was totally deceived. That's why how serious it is. Remember, industries have spouted from this lie. Now they're telling you they've gone to space, Mars, Moon, Voyager 1, Voyager 2. Yeah, okay. It's not serious yet. Children not yet born are going to be born into this debt. It's not serious. It's okay. Let it carry on.
Get him, Jim. Get him, Rambo.
When I say it's not that serious, I've already agreed with you in principle, Jin, that I do see it as serious. But if you portray that image to next man, you get the tomatoes and the onions shook at you. So there's got to be a way of showing them that it is a bridge that they can cross without losing their head, without mixing metaphors too much.
I always get the tomatoes and that's with always the softly approach. I never take the loud and shove it down their throat approach. I don't want to do that. I want to engage the people and let them realize it. But some people get triggered, don't they? They get triggered. And that's when, you know, you got to weather the storm and still come through with the facts. Why the hostility? You know what I mean? We're only talking about the shape of the earth here, and you haven't proven it to yourself. That's the truth. That's the integrity of your position, sir, is that you're believing in something you haven't confirmed to exist. I'm only asking you in the nicest way possible, how do you know it is? You don't know it is, do you? Now, as I've measured it, I'm trying to tell you, it's measured flat. That's all I'm trying to inform you. So go and check it. Go check it.
Talking about measurements, Nathan, I did put a small clip in Master B, solar azimuth. Fancy watching it. So I think it's only a short one. Don't have to. It's just there if you need it.
Yeah,
Well,
let's go for it.
in with the measurements, Jin. You should be asking where the guns are.
I will. We will come to it. We've got plenty of time. So yes. Somebody's turned a Bambi into Rambo, and it says Bambo. This is Jimbo. It says. I'll bring it up later.
Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank everybody for joining my server today. Nathan, I'd like to let you know I've given you a show host role, so you should be able to ban and kick people and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I already figured that out when I banned Rob Noxious.
Yeah, well, you got to be careful. Oh, you banned him already because you got to be careful because he's going to be popping in. Anytime there's a new server, Rob Noxious is there.
Yes, I should really point that out to the audience. Just one sec. So the server that we're in today is called The Flip Side, and it's Divergent Droid's brand new server. Well, brand new to me at least. It may have been around for years for all I know, but it's new to us. And he highlighted that he's got a server, and it didn't have a great deal of participation until now, but the link is below this video. So if you do happen to want to use the public gateway to join Flat Earth Debate today, you will be doing so via the Flipside Discord server, which is run by our fantastic moderation member called Divergent Droid. So big shout out to him. If you did want to join the chat, that's how you do so. So we are currently using his voice verification page bit because it seems to work. So if you're in voice verification 1 and you're talking straight to us at the moment, I'm sure that will change with time and more members of a, what would you call it, management team for his server. But for now, it's just him. So as that expands, for now, we're in his voice verification chat as our public gateway. But like I say, that's the link that is below this video is to the Divergent Droid server called The Flipside. So if you did want to join, obviously, as I say in the intro, don't swear, but that is your means of getting into this show if you did want to join and talk to us.
And if anybody's in doubt, we all agree that he is the best moderator out there, Divergent Droid.
Yeah, the oil in the machine that keeps everything going. Yes, that vital oil. That's the man.
Well, he's just on top of things. Like before Nathan could say what he wants done, Divergent Droid is on it.
Yeah, top man. Like I said, DD, Divergent Droid. Don't forget that name, ladies and gentlemen. The Flip Side coming at you at 2026.
I find myself in chat with somebody, and I'm about to tell them something that I can link them to, and Divergent Droid is ahead of me in my conversation. That's how good he is.
Are you saying the man is psychic? Wow, psychic DD.
No, he just pays. No. He's just paying attention to what's going on, and he knows what I'm going to suggest to a certain person, and boom, the link comes right up.
I'm going to test this microphone. It's one that I've already had in the show and tested it on a different live show. It got sold, and the customer was like, "It sounds really thin," and I was like, "Fine, just send it back." And he did, and I'm going to give it another quick test. It might have broken in transit, but I hope not. We'll find out in a minute. That doesn't mean stop talking.
We're waiting for you to test it. I thought that's what you said.
Yeah,
I thought the mic. I thought the mic he was using was the test mic. I was going to say, that doesn't sound thin. That sounds great. Then goes, I'm just going to get it ready. Oh, that's what's going on. Funny.
No, so this is the mic. It was the one that you said sounded great, and I told you that it was a 1970s microphone, and you were like, that sounds wonderful. I'm like, well, it's from the 1970s. It's an AKG D190E. He said it sounds thin. I'm willing to bet that it's just because he bought a ribbon mic at the same time, and the ribbon mic sounds all fat and bassy, and this one doesn't. But I'm suspecting this sounds fine, right?
Yes, it
Sounds
does.
excellent. Sounds excellent.
I agree. This is a very nice microphone. I was gutted when it sold, because I've sold a whole bunch of these, right? This particular microphone, D190E, I've sold a ton of them. And I thought the last sale or last purchase that I made was for 2 of them. And the guy only sent 1. He's like, I can't find the second one. And I'd got the first one sold, this one, and I'd never received the second one, which I was gutted about. I was like, because I wanted to keep one, as in for my own use. But then having sold this one, I'm like, oh, heartbreaking. I did kind of want to keep a really nice D190E, and this one's in pristine condition. And it even came with the original 1970s transparent, funky looking clip. So the fact that it's come back, I'm not exactly disappointed about. And based on the levels and what it's behaving like, it seems like it's perfectly normal and does what it's supposed to do. So it sounds okay, yeah?
Yeah, it sounds great. Now, just a quick question.
Good.
Because I know your listeners want to know this as well. How many mics do you actually have that are yours, that you're not selling, that you're using for yourself personally? How many do you have?
1. This one. The one that I used for the show.
Oh, that's it.
Well,
wow. I thought you had a few of them.
I buy all of them. I buy with the idea that, oh, right, I'd like to own this. So I've said it before with some of them, right? So I grabbed this one. This is a very specific microphone. It's for under snare use, or you can make it sound like a telephone, like a 1950s telephone if you're talking to the side of it. Really specific use case. I don't own a snare drum, right? But when I bought it, I'm like, that'll be an excellent under snare mic. I've got to kind of justify buying it so that if it doesn't sell and I end up keeping it, I'm like, well, of course I want to keep it. It's my under snare mic. You know what I mean? So I justify all of them like I'd want them if they don't sell. So that's how I buy good stuff. I'll only buy stuff that I want. So if it doesn't sell, I will keep it, obviously. Whoops, as it all starts falling off. Anyway, I'll fiddle with that later. But the same applies to this, you know. I would happily keep this microphone because it's a really nice vintage 1970s mic that actually sounds good. So if you want to kind of get a vintage vibe and you happen to have a band in recording, and they're like, what have you got that sounds vintage? You want to put something in front of them that gives them that nostalgic feel, but you can still get a good recording out of. Well, this is that mic. It's the mic the Pope used to use. Anyway, D190, very pretty microphone. While we're talking about mics, can I just show you what I think is the coolest mic I've purchased to date? Because I might not get another chance. It might eventually get sold. This. Look at this thing. This is a Marantz 3000, and it's suspended on a bungee rope and then on a metal frame with springs that suspend the capsule. It is absolutely outrageous. Don't know if you can see that. Probably not in the Hangout. You'd have to look at the live stream. This is a Marantz 3000. Absolutely epic. And another one, I bought it and I'm like, oh, I'd love to own that. I put it in the Master B chat yesterday. I said, it looks like it's simultaneously from the 1940s and from the future all at the same time. I think steampunk is the way you describe something like that. Very steampunk looking microphone with these, like I say, springs, bungee mounts, this frame. And it sounds great. It's a really, really nice microphone. Anyway.
Yeah,
Anyway, cheeky bastard. Yes, Flat Earth Flurf talk will resume momentarily. There we go.
It's so exciting, Nathan. I can't wait to see it.
Step 9. Step
cool.
936 is in the house, so I've been keeping him informed about things that are happening, and he's very thankful. And he's got your back 100%, Nathan. Thank you, Skep. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Who are you talking about?
Skep936, one of your Patreons that's always here. He gets busy sometimes, but he always comes back. I've been keeping him in the loop through text about what's been happening because he wants me to sign one of your books for him, right? So he's devastated by everything, but he has your back and unsubscribed from certain people. So thank you very much, Skep.
Shout out to Skeptic936. I do shout him out each morning. Like when I do the pre-show warm-up.
Yeah, we know that. But he's here now. So I want him to hear us shouting him out in unison. The guy's a good guy. He's helped me so many times.
Excellent.
Is he a long time patron of yours, Nathan?
Very long time, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
California boy.
That book will be a book of nostalgia for him then, and many.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of stories in there that I appreciate now, having done this for a long time, that people just won't know about. You know, there's going to be stories of individuals who were in this arena, who were, at the time at least, seemingly doing things that were deemed really important. But now it just all seems very redundant.
Yeah, see, a lot of people won't know, but then they'll go back to your show. Like a lot of people that don't even know, say they get the book in their hands, they never heard of your show, never heard of Flat Earth, but all of a sudden they got this book before them. Yeah, they will go back to the shows to find out who these people are.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if people would... I don't know how much longevity there is in things like the Isle of Man debate, for instance. I don't know if that's something that people would want to go back and listen to. Like, do you want to argue... Do you want to listen to people arguing from a complete position of ignorance, talking about flat Earth measurements in terms of distance? If you've read once the book comes out, once you've read it, you'll have read it in that context. Like, well, we were debating about the distance to the Isle of Man, not realising that the distance itself proves how Earth is flat. Whereas if you go back to the old shows and hear us actually debating that, the stage has been set so that the audience isn't appreciative of it either. We're not appreciating how flat Earth is when we start punching in the numbers into the Earth curve calculator. We just take the flat Earth measurements, punch them in the Earth curve calculator, and then argue all day about how far we should or shouldn't be seeing. It all seems very silly when I think back on it.
It reminds me, Nathan, of going back and playing older video games.
Yeah.
They were nostalgic to you as children, but actually they're so technologically limited. They're terrible to play compared to today's standards. Yeah,
absolutely. So there was a video game called Chuck Rock, and I remember back in the days when everyone had 8-bit Nintendos, my parents' computer shop had a 32-bit computer, which in terms of gaming was so technologically advanced compared to a Nintendo, it was untrue. Now, if you look at the game, this particular game, Chuck Rock, now, you'd go, well, it's just a garbage 2D platformer. There's nothing special about it. Like, yeah, but back in 1989, when it was running on a 32-bit machine, it was the most amazing thing in the world. Your nostalgia is lost when there's something that supersedes it. And there's always going to be something that supersedes whatever we're doing in this forum, in the Flat Earth forum. What seems really important yesterday, like literally yesterday, it was really important that we made people aware of how ball-shaped Earth isn't. Today, that seems almost redundant. I know we're still arguing about it, but to me, that's just, I can't change that attitude. So going back and looking at...
That's okay.
Go ahead, Jin.
I was going to say, yeah, that's okay. You can't change that attitude. That's you, though. That's you. There are other people out there who have a different situation, and different position in that, and they're going to carry on until the day they die doing it, and that's fine. It's not a problem, is it?
Yeah, there's always going to be a guy that talks about the Trump administration and how terrible it was till the day he dies.
Yeah, they were going to talk about it and see how bad it was and laugh. Yes, because it's going to be a sort of a joke, and that's going to be good. And as for the flat earth, there are generations coming up that are going to be learning this stuff from those who don't want to stop telling them about it. Okay, there's going to be plenty of people out there doing that because it's going to be important. And then they're going to go to the museums and see the heliocentric model that the flat earth has destroyed. There it is in the museum now. Look at it. What a joke, isn't
How
it?
could you destroy something that never existed?
Well,
Jim?
that's what I'm saying. We destroyed the light. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I don't think it'll be
Okay.
in a museum. I think it'll be in the annals of history in this regard will be the vaults the Scientologists provide.
And the museums for the children to learn and laugh about.
No, I don't. I think if it falls, if heliocentrism falls, it will be tucked away. That's where I use this terminology at the top of the show. And it's suddenly, right, you can't tuck flat earth away. No, we're not talking about flat earth in that regard. We're talking about heliocentrism. If it fails, it will be brushed under the carpet as opposed to put in a museum. It won't be like, look at these old heliocentric artifacts. No. The whole rhetoric will be packaged up and tucked away in the vaults of Scientology. Guarded, kept very secret for use at a later date.
Now it will be in the museums where kids will learn how man used to think. It'll be there. It's going to be there in the science museums. Guarantee you.
Why would it be in the science museums? Wouldn't it be in the mathematical museums?
No, we don't have those. We have science museums currently. That's why.
Does the Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe have a museum?
No. I don't think there's a C.S. Lewis museum. There is there's a Roald Dahl museum. I took my kids around it.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's all right.
A what?
They got a whole load
Where
of
was
Charlie
it?
and the Chocolate Factory costumes and original transcripts and scribbles from him and things like that. Yeah, it's very good.
Where was it?
Somewhere relatively local, within 30 miles of me. I can't remember.
I missed the name. What'd you say? There's a
Roald
what is
Dahl,
it called?
as in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Good morning, peoples.
But the point he was making wasn't whether or not we've been
No,
to the
chocolate.
museum. It's whether or not there's a Narnian museum for those who thought that there was a talking lion. I mean, that's just based on the story of Christ, by the way. Just blasphemous if we suggested that there'd be a similar comparative museum for the fallen Christian religion, which isn't the case. In terms of the fallen heliocentric religion, I very much doubt that you'd want to keep it hanging around like a stale smell in a museum. Like I say, why have all of the vaults that the Scientologists have? Why have these climate control vaults? What could they possibly store in there? Well, an entire one world religion is the answer.
Yeah, I agree with Nathan on this. Not going to be museums. It's going to be tucked away in Scientology. It's exactly heliocentrism Scientology. Exactly.
Yeah, I can't find anything that distinguishes it from standard heliocentrism. So to say it's a spin-off, you're like, okay, how does it spin off? Because it's the same. It's not any different. It's not like Frasier versus Cheers, where one's about a radio station, one's about a bar. You can call that a spin-off. Both of them are the same. They're both the same. There's no difference between what a Scientologist believes in and what a heliocentrist believes in. You tell me where they differ.
So it's not a spin-off, it's a spin-on.
It's just the same exact thing. There is no difference, as far as I can tell, between what a Scientologist believes and what a heliocentrist believes. How they behave within their tax-free cult status of a church is very different to what is actually the essence of Scientology. The essence of Scientology is the same as heliocentrism. There is no difference between the two.
Maybe you should do a little video on that. Like the short, you've probably got a short one, Nathan, haven't you? Just to point out the comparisons, because some people won't know this.
Yeah. Well, where the lines blurred slightly in the 80s and 90s, they've become crystal clear in terms of what the current rhetoric of heliocentrism peddles. It's like I say it's like they're reading from the same playbook. They are the same playbook, right? Your alien invasion that you're all going to be experiencing. How is that any different to Xenu? The fact that you've got one guy, that's L. Ron Hubbard, describing it in his version of dropping thetans into volcanoes. So? That's no different to your aliens coming here and crashing, giving us the quantum computers, or whatever it is you want to believe. I think it's all stupid, but it's the same. Now, it used to be, in the 80s, that people would laugh at Scientologists because of their belief in aliens, specifically. Now, well, how is that any different to heliocentrism? That's what they're being peddled. The lines where they had distinctions between the two have now been unblurred.
There is no evidence that L. Ron Hubbard specifically addressed or wrote about heliocentrism. His work, including Dianetics and Scientology, focuses on a set of pseudoscientific ideas and spiritual belief system, but does not include scientific theories on astronomy, did you hear that? Or cosmology like heliocentrism. L. Ron Hubbard's main body of work consists of Dianetics, a pseudoscientific system for mental health, and the religious philosophy of Scientology. His writings are not concerned with scientific models of the solar system.
They're the same thing. His solar system is the same. That's where his aliens come from. He is heliocentric in his nature. There is no difference between Scientology and heliocentrism. To suggest that his mental health practitioners, which they're not, have something to do with their sky religion, no, the two are very much separate. That's how the Church of Scientology behaves, as opposed to the religion of Scientology, which is the same as heliocentrism. They are one and the same.
Right, so why would he have to write about heliocentrism? He wouldn't, because he's writing about it in his writings of Scientology.
Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. Like, you couldn't get away from that commercial when I was a kid. They try to push that one hard. That's crazy.
Well, according to Brian Cox, there is definitely alien life form out there, but the stars are that far away, you'll just never be able to get there. Or they'll never be able to get here. But they're definitely there.
Nathan, can I ask, in Scientology, is there any speak of time manipulation or different dimensions?
They're operating in the same pseudo fourth dimension Einsteinian concept with gravity as a heliocentrist is. In terms of their overarching sky belief, there is no difference at all.
No, okay.
Correct.
My point is, a lot of normies, especially the comments of philosophical and religious discussions and debates, people talk in those terms as they're a given. So I'd say that's where most people are, thinking in time travel in different dimensions.
I don't know. I'm not a Scientologist, so I wouldn't know if that's explicitly taught. But I can only assume that it's no different in terms of how a school kid would be taught about the world being a ball flying around the sun, and potentially a university student being taught that there's a bent fourth dimensional pseudo-Riemannian space-time. How would a heliocentric school child get any different of a religious education than any other? They'd be the same.
Sure, we watched a video once and the guy was explaining those 12 dimensions and something about a squirrel in one of them dimensions or something like that.
I don't think that was a Scientologist, but yeah.
Is it time to do that video now? Of 1x, little clip. Angles, elevation angles, elevation angles, horizontal constant.
Oh yes, and there's also a clip posted by Craig about a flat earther, and he was on Big Brother and was asked. He was brought into the diary room and told how Earth's a globe, and asked not to talk about flat Earth. I think something to that effect.
To go to the next chapter, and we'll look at the direction or the azimuth of your solar modules. So if I would describe the azimuth in my own words, I would explain it as the position of the sun expressed in a horizontal plane, right?
Oh dear.
Oh boy! Right away.
Sorry, what are we? 15 seconds into the video. Who supplied this?
Me, Nathan.
It's absolutely superb. Yeah, let's just reiterate this to the audience. Earth's measured flat. It's not that big a deal. If you're a normie, it's how you measure Earth. If you're going to describe how Earth gets measured, quote, in your own words, you'll describe it with respect to the horizontal plane of reference that Earth is measured with. Because that's how Earth gets measured. So the fact that this guy opens his video with, if I'm going to describe azimuth in my own words, I'll describe it with respect to a horizontal plane. Yes, because that's how Earth gets measured. It's not that big a deal. Earth's just flat. You hear that again?
From the gate.
The modules. So if I would describe the azimuth in my own words, I would explain it as the position of the sun expressed in a horizontal plane.
The position of the sun expressed in a horizontal plane. You couldn't get much more specific. Horizontal position of the sun in the sky. Direction, azimuth. It says in the top right-hand corner, top left-hand corner of this video. You can't get much clearer than that. Yeah, like I say, Earth's just measured flat. It's not that big a deal.
Hold on. His hand gestures say something different because he doesn't do horizontal straight. He does a slight curve if you look at it again.
Right? Because the sun is coming up and it's going down, but I'm expressing where the sun is by only looking over the horizontal plane.
He can't help himself.
Yeah, that's because it's how it's measured. I mean, there's no getting away from this. That's why we're never going to tuck flat Earth away. You just have to explain it with cognitive dissonance if you believe you're on a ball. So this guy is not worried about expressing how flat Earth will be measured for the angle of the sun and as it goes over your position and gets measured. He's just going to describe how it gets measured with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. Because that's how it's measured. So he's not too concerned about making apologetics to ball-believing numpties who come along and tell him, yeah, but that's only because it's easier to measure Earth flat to describe the sun's azimuth. It doesn't mean it is. He's not concerned about expressing that. Now, he might later on in the video. We'll have to see.
So it's going up and it's going down, but I'm like...
Up and down are terminologies that can only be described with respect to a flat plane of reference.
Only explain it in a horizontal plane. And what's key in this is that I'm explaining where the sun is relative in the horizontal plane with reference to a fixed point, right? Because I need to, if I want to explain to you, if you want to explain to me what the azimuth is, then you need to say, okay, the sun is somewhere there relative to a fixed point, right? So those are the two key characteristics, and that's how I would explain what the azimuth is. But those are only words again, so let's go to the whiteboard and let me explain this. Let me explain what the azimuth is in a visual and a graphic way. So let's draw a circle, a simple circle, and let's turn this circle into a sphere, into a ball, into a round object, right?
Kind of a bit like what I present on all of these slides. So, for example, if I bring up the slide that's on screen now, can you see what this is describing? Oh, just coincidentally, it's describing the azimuth angle with respect to a horizontal plane labelled as horizon, with degrees around it in a circle and a calculable celestial sphere wrapped around your position from a single point. It's almost like we have this running daily.
I thought you was making all this up, Nathan.
No, I got it from books and stuff. Specifically 10th Man's books that he spent thousands of dollars on.
And let's give it a bit of volume. So the bottom half we painted gray. And this is just a sphere. It is not necessarily our planet. Our planet happens to be a kind of a sphere as well. But just
No, it doesn't. No, what you're going to be measuring is the flat planar surface of the planet. Now, that doesn't make any sense because it's a contradiction in terms. So peppering your flat Earth description of azimuth measurement with respect to a plane that's horizontal is inconducive with your belief.
this is just a sphere. And now let's place...
Yeah, it's just not the world then. Because if your world's spherical, it would need to be spherical if you're going to describe a spherical world. No, what you will be describing is a flat plane to take the measurement from. Now, you are measuring it with respect to a point that you can and do and will measure it from, but that is with respect to this plane. That's just how Earth gets measured. Now, when you say it's not the planet, as in not the world that we're standing on, yeah, the world we're standing on is not a planet. That's why you're not measuring it that way and describing it that way.
You right in the center of that sphere, right in the center. So you are there in the center of the sphere.
Yeah, but they've hijacked this concept to turn the world into a sphere and then pretend that you can get the angles from the surface in hell if you wrap the protractor that is the measurement tool around you and call it the world that you stand within as a sphere. So when you say it's not the world, yeah, you know that it's not the world because that's not capable of being within if you believe it's a sphere. But you do definitely measure it from the plane of reference with you standing upon it. That's what you're about to describe, a physical description of a measurement of an item that moves about your position from the ground. And your measurement from the ground to that light, the sun. So we are going to measure Earth flat in this example. That just means it's not a ball Earth. That's all that means. You don't have to disclaim how this ball's not the ball that we are on. We're not on a ball, or we'd measure it that way.
In this perfect sphere right in the center, and now we want to have a reference point. We want to have a reference system because we need to start somewhere, right? So we create the system of north, south, east, and west. Okay,
so to describe north, south, east, and west, we have to describe them with respect to the plane of reference that we'll be measuring from. So here's you, here's the flat plane of the world, and here's the directions that are also flat. So we're into descriptions of directionality, and they can only be described with respect to a plane. That is how Earth is navigated. That's north.
Why?
Yep.
Yeah, but she said reference points.
Why isn't it south at the bottom?
Because you can only describe directionality with respect to a plane. South isn't down.
But as far as we're concerned, he's on a flat plane, horizontal plane. He's already described that. The protractor dome over the top, that's just our perspective view. But the lights in the sky, that's how they appear to us. So it's just hijacking perspective.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to describe that dome that this guy's got in the picture, that's zenith, as in directly above my head. That's 45 degrees. That's 90 and 180, a line along the flat plane of reference that is the surface that you're measuring to describe the angle as the sun moves over your position. That's what you're describing. Now, the protractor, that's the angle tool used to describe the sun when you measure it from the plane of Earth's surface, has been turned into a globe for you, the numpty public, to believe in.
Can we get a J on that?
we want to have a reference point. We want to have a reference system because we need to start somewhere, right? So we create the system of north, south, east, and west. Okay, so as per the image, we have north, east, south, and west, but we can also identify, we can also express these four directions by means of degrees, as we learned before, whereby north is 0 degrees, south is 180, east is 90, and west is 270.
So we've got a flat circle described with 0 to 180 being north to south, 270 to 90 being east to west. Okay. So this is a flat planar system then. Yeah, directionalities are flat. North, south, east and west is only capable of being utilised with respect to a plane of reference because that's what it is. How we measure and navigate Earth is, as described by this man, flat. This is a man called Solar Solution, and I would like and invite my audience to pop along to Solar Solution and let him know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the videographer or indeed by the YouTube algorithmic bots that censor the comments about Flat Earth. So just let him know, in the politest of possible ways, that we are covering his video and describing, as he is describing, the facts of how Earth is measured. Flat, as per his description and diagrams. And my diagrams, the ones that I use on a daily basis, I will be utilising some of these diagrammatical examples. And why wouldn't I? They're exceptional. They're the same as the ones I'm using on a daily basis to describe the measurement of Earth's surface in all practical applications, without exception. Earth's measured flat, ladies and gentlemen.
This is what...
There's no getting away from it.
Just saying it. This is what like bugs me a little bit. We've done other videos on it. You know, he started off this by describing from the horizontal plane and the angle to the sun. Then he's coming to this next step and told us that the Earth's a sphere. So we're going to go inside the sphere now. So we're going inside the sphere on the horizontal plane to do all this work. I mean, who actually thinks that is happening? I mean, there will be people watching this who've not cottoned on that. Hang on a minute. You can't go to the centre of Earth to do this. That's pathetic. But they'll be watching it and just believing everything that the guy's saying, what he believes is happening. I can't get my head around it.
Don't forget, we had 10th Man. He was ripping it out every day. So we were aware of their little charade, shall we call it,
Quick.
how they're going to use the equatorial plane.
Hit the center of the Earth button, Neil. Quick. That's the ridiculous part. This is the crazy part, that mathematics will have people do things like this. Like one day said, he started off with a horizontal plane, and now we're at the center of the sphere. What?
How's
What are you
angles?
talking-
Exactly.
At what point does he actually come back and say, well, you're not actually at the center of the sphere. You're just on this horizontal plane making this measurement. Nah, we're not going to get that right. Now we're at the center of the sphere. Great.
Shout out to Skeptic.
Yeah, we reference sea level. Sorry.
Just one sec. Shout out to Skeptic 936, whose name I won't release. I don't want to dox you, even though you sent me a PayPal donation. Thank you very much for the PayPal donation. So, I don't know if I've made this aware recently, but I'll do it right at the top of this week. So, if you donate to me via PayPal, currently I use that money to pay my wife to be my book editor. So that's where that money will go. So thank you very much for the PayPal donation, Skeptic936. I will forward it straight on to Paula. Really appreciate the support. And same goes for anybody else if you happen to send me money via PayPal or via, I think it's, I can't remember the name of the app that diverts money via PayPal to me anyway. But whatever the Cash App thing is underneath the video, that also comes to me via PayPal. And anything that I do get in that regard just goes straight on to Paula to help me edit the book. So thank you very much. Really appreciate the support, Skeptic936. Thanks for the PayPal.
Told you he was ace.
He is ace. I'm sure Paula will also say, she doesn't know, but when I send it to her, she is always very grateful when I tell her, you've just received money from this particular person.
Or you could not tell her, and just give a half.
No, why would I do that? She's my wife.
I'm just doing a ranty joke.
Now let's imagine that you are somewhere on the northern hemisphere. It is during the summer.
Right, that doesn't make any sense. You've just described a flat planar system with north, south, east and west. Now you're describing the northern hemisphere? That's an oxymoron. No, if you've got a planar system with 0 degrees being north, as you've got on screen, how can you simultaneously describe it as being hemispherical north and south? Now, that would mean that north was up and south was down. But that's not, literally, that's incongruent with what you've got on screen.
It is early in the morning,
Saying,
the
though,
sun
Nathan,
just came.
This is where sorry, Nathan, this is what we say. This is the problem, isn't it? This is what we get with even the Simondans and the triangles. They're telling you one thing and describing another. He's not realizing he's doing it. I don't think he's in this arena for this purpose, but he's describing it. He's contradicted himself how many times? Yeah, even what he's showing is a horizontal plane. We know that's a perspective view of the skies. on the flat Earth, the horizontal plane you'd be measuring the angles from. He's already described that. Now he's saying you're in the centre of a sphere. Now he's saying you're in the northern hemisphere. This is.
Washington is good, man. Brainwashing gets you to sleep very comfortably with contradiction. That's why it's so good. That's why they start so young. So you can blatantly sit here and make all these contradictions, sleep well at night. Right?
Nathan,
Up.
Yes.
are you okay with Rob Knox just being in the chat?
He's behaving himself.
Okay.
I mean, this guy's a stalker, like a creepy, sweary stalker.
And you want to express the relative position of
Is
the
he
sun
paid to be
toward.
here?
Is he what?
Is he paid to be here?
I don't know.
You as the
Well,
observer.
if he is in the chat, he just needs, obviously watching a video at the moment, watch it. If he's heard what we've been saying, if he's got anything intellectual to say of how we're pointing things out, come with some intellect and tell us where that isn't a horizontal plane and we're not measuring any elevation angles from it and the directions are not linear related.
Yeah, I don't mind Rob being here as long as he doesn't start in his rants and just pay attention to what is being said here. That's all. We're not saying anything that the normies are not saying themselves.
So the relative position of the sun in this spherical coordination system towards you as the.
He just went spherical coordination system and then drew a circle that was flat. He went spherical coordination system. Those were the exact words he used. And what he did with his finger was draw a flat planar circle for the north, south, east, and west that he's got diagrammatically exampled behind him. So, Is it just me, or is that the perfect example? That would be spherical, yeah? Not this. That's a circle.
Well, he has to make a circle, Nathan. It can't be done spherically.
Well, yeah, you can't do north, south, east, and west spherically. Like, go look at a compass. But the cognitive dissonance made him do it. There's no other explanation for it because his words are telling you one story and his lips are telling you another.
Yeah, double speak. Perfect example of double speak right there.
The observer that's standing in the center of the sphere. So the sun just came up, you're looking at the sun, it's a little bit to your left, you're looking up, and you're looking up at the sun, but you want to express what the position of the sun is in a horizontal plane, right? So you can kind of draw an imaginary triangle. So you're looking up towards...
Sorry, mate. He's just gone back again now, hasn't he, to the horizontal plane that the observer's standing on to get the angle of the perspective of the light in the sky, which is that perspective dome over the top of the flat Earth. He's just explained it. Look at his hand position.
But he couldn't see the sun from the middle of the Earth, could he?
What we've got on screen now, in terms of him describing altitude and azimuth of the sun for a measurement of an angle with respect to a horizontal plane described with respect to a two-dimensional circle with north, south, east, and west on it. I say that's how they convert the measurements of a flat plane, that's the surface you're standing on, into a spherical surface. Now let's have a look at this diagram. You see that? This is the same thing, but with the extended celestial plane instead of the equatorial plane. What's this in the middle? You see this? That's the protractor that you'll use to measure the angle to the lights in the sky. So if you've got the sun traversing over this view in this diagram, you'd have a flat plane to measure the angle from the surface with you standing inside this globe, making the globe nothing more than a glorified protractor. That's how they've converted the flat plane that we stand and dwell atop and the measurements we take with respect to it into a ball that you can stand within to make these measurements seem plausible for a ball wrapped around your position. Let's go back. Imagining that this is the world We're not on it. And we're certainly not in it. We're just on a plane with a perspective view of the sun and a glorified protractor wrapped around our position. That is precisely what this man is detailing and describing when he describes azimuth and altitude, measurements of the sun from a planar surface with respect to north, south, east and west on a two-dimensional circle.
What's the sun?
Hang on, with that explanation that we've just heard, Rob Notches should be a flat earther by now. Thank you.
And then there's a triangle right there in that plane, and then you draw a line straight from the sun down, and where it hits the horizontal plane, that is your azimuth, right? So that is your azimuth. And then if you would wish to explain to me what the relative position of the sun is towards you, we would need to agree on a reference point, and we normally agree that north 0 degrees is your reference point, right? So then you're looking at the sun, you're drawing this line down straight to the plane, and they say, okay, with relatively to north, relative to 0 degrees, I'm looking at the sun, and your azimuth in that situation is, let's say, 120 degrees. All right, let him shut up for a second. I just want to explain to you that the content of this video is copied from the complete course of energy systems. If this information is enough for you, great. If you want to learn more and if you want to get access to the complete course, then check the information in the description below.
No, I mean, I'm good. We're very well versed with this system of measuring Earth flat as a plane for the description of north, south, east and west to work, or for the altitude and azimuth angle to work. You need Earth to be flat to describe and measure this system. So, I mean, as for the rest of your course, not really that interested. I mean, but check him out. I mean, I'll share your video link with my audience and encourage them to go along and let him know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Your concise, detailed explanation for the flat planar surface you will and do measure in this system was perfectly adequate. And I thank you.
All right, you go ahead again. Let's do the same exercise, but for somewhere later on during the day. So the first point you were looking at the sun was in the morning. So as the day progresses, it gets higher and higher. Somewhere around noon, it's at its highest point, and then it starts to go down, right? And then somewhere late in the afternoon, you are looking at the sun, and you're drawing this imaginary triangle between the sun and the horizontal.
But he's saying it's starting to go. It's a perspective view. That's that dome over the protractor over the top is a perspective view of the sun moving across the sky. That's what it is. It's not, not actually going down to touch the ground that he's standing on. It just appears to be going down because it's moving further away. Perspective.
Yeah, but he's got that triangle has to be on the surface, not on a flat plane if he's going to promote his globe.
Yeah.
Why is he not doing it on the surface?
No, he is doing it on the surface. This is an elevation angle measurement of the sun. The line that he is drawing is one line that forms the angle along the surface and one line up to the light in the sky, with the dome of the protractor that gives you all of the degrees that the sun can be in around you and your position on a flat plane. The flat plane is part of the angle. What angle? The elevation angle. What's elevation? A measurement from the surface. He's making a surface level measurement of the sun with an angle. It's very simple. It's not that serious. Earth's just measured flat.
Yeah, I understand that, but he's trying to make it sound like he's doing it from a curved surface when he's not. He's doing it from a flat surface.
The plane that you're looking at.
No, he just said the plane that you're looking at. That's pretty concisely describing a flat plane. If he's saying the plane that you're looking at, you're measuring it. That's what's giving you part of the angle.
I know that, and I know you know that, and I know you damn well know what I'm talking about. His surface is not flat. His surface is supposed to be curved.
No, it's not.
But he's doing it from a flat surface. Therefore, Earth is flat.
Yeah, correct.
And now you're drawing this line down, and again, you count from 0 degrees, so from north you count how many degrees until you get to the point where the sun is right above the horizon, right?
Yeah, right. That's how we measure Earth. It must be flat for you to describe how many degrees from north you are around a circle, because that's directionality. It is ipso facto flat. And then to get the elevation angle of the sun, you will measure one of the lines of the angle to be the surface level. Also, categorically, without question, flat. Because if it isn't an angle measurement. Same goes for the degrees from north. This requires Earth be a flat plane, or it doesn't function. It is how we measure Earth, and it is ipso facto flat.
Yeah, I agree.
So
with
he's
Jim.
showing it.
There's no reason why Rob Noxious or anybody else in chat should not be a flat earther by now. He's showing you it on a flat earth.
Exactly, that's what I was just going to say, Neil. He's actually showing you it's flat. Now, he might have uttered some nonsense about it being inside the sphere, but we all know that can't happen. That's not happening. So he's on a flat plane of reference that he's using for the elevation angles. We've described this protractor over the top as just your perspective view of the lights in the sky now, what angle will appear to be at. And he's showing it on screen. You know, he's showing us it's measured flat.
We'll be sure and let him know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the YouTube algorithmic bots or indeed by the videographer himself. The name of the videographer is Solar Solution. He's not a massive YouTuber, although he is slightly larger than myself, but I'm sure he still appreciates as much as I appreciate getting comments from people who have never seen his videos up until now. So please do, as I say, let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, hit me up on PayPal or Patreon, all that good stuff. Also a massive thank you to the Flipside Discord server and my G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.